Welcome to SolarTechDIY.com. This is Patrick speaking again. I'm demonstrating the addition of the first leg of the positive outbound lead. Now what this means is this positive lead is what is going to be coming out of your solar panel and out to the battery or charge controller or connecting with another module, another solar cell. But you'll notice we're connecting the positive outbound lead to the positive string, or the positive end of this last string. Now, earlier in these demonstration videos, I've talked about the importance of marking your substrate, and here's an example of where that really pays dividends, because there's no guesswork. What's your positive lead and what's your negative? And let's just say, for the sake of argument, you didn't mark as we have here, as I've advised you to do. Let's say you didn't, and it comes time to attach your positive and negative leads, and you're not really sure which is which. Maybe you're a little confused. Refer back to our acronym. Remember our acronym for the back of the panel? British Petroleum, BP, back positive. So on this last string, our tabbing wire is coming off the back of the solar cell, and that tells us it is the positive lead. So when we set up the outbound lead, we're using bus wire, and of course you can tell the bus wire you've used it already to connect your strings that led you to this point, so I trust you're familiar with bus wire. Now when you connect, or perhaps you've already connected your negative lead, that was 10 inches, I believe, in length, that bus wire segment, because that negative outbound lead really goes directly from the negative string literally up to your either junction box or your terminal block. That's not the same with this positive lead that we're setting up now. The positive lead must have a blocking diode in between the string and where it connects with your project box. So you have to cut your bus wire that would have been your positive outbound lead, and you have to connect your blocking diode in between. I find it's easier to connect the diode first to a short string of bus wire, because it does take some manipulation, as you saw me doing while I was talking. We have to bend the bus wire around the blocking diode, and we're bending and pushing and crimping, and if that were already soldered to the string, that's a lot of tugging and pulling, and you're just apt to snap something that best ought not be snapped, if you get my drift. So generally, if you're like me with sausage fingers, we're not neurosurgeons for a reason, right? And we're not piano players. So, but somehow we do this delicate wiring with no problem. Don't do dishes either. Just kidding. We do them all the time. But this short strand of bus wire needs to be connected to the tabbing wire coming off the string, just as previously you have done already when connecting your strings, joining them. You simply wrap the tabbing wire around the bus wire. Of course, you want to prior to soldering, you want to treat it with the flux pen, and then notice the presence of our cushioned weights, keeping everything nice and firm. And when dealing with your blocking diode, you see the gray strip that's facing away from the string. That you always want to have that in mind. Gray is out. Gray is towards the battery. And uh, you'll get into the habit of it, but um, gray towards the battery. Now, the alignment of this particular section needs to be fairly parallel with the string. Uh, but you'll notice there's a slight angling away from the bus wire that's connecting the string immediately to the right of this one we're working on. We do not want to have any overlap of these bus wires because they're opposite polarity, for one thing, right there. But should they touch, you could short out your solar panel. And so it's best to angle them away so there's no chance of incidental contact. Now, after we pour our encapsulant, there's a tremendous reduction in any possibility of incidental contact because that encapsulant is going to hold not only the solar cells and strings firmly in place, but also all of the relevant wiring. So uh, you don't want to tempt fate though. Steer them away from each other during the construction process and you won't have to worry about that. But not all solar panels are encapsulated. So uh, in those cases, you would want to be triple certain there's not going to be any overlap. Now, the next video is a short one where we connect the second leg of the bus wire to this blocking diode. Uh, Nothing terribly exciting there except the importance of how these two opposite polarity outbound leads must meet in the middle of the frame because they have to connect with either a project box or a terminal block. Uh, I'm sorry, terminal block or a junction box. Uh, so they have to be long enough and then able to uh, make a 90-degree turn and come up through the Tedlar backsheet. But we'll cover that then. And one final note about blocking diodes: if you use a junction box, the one that's depicted in our instruction manual and the ebook, they contain blocking diodes, so you wouldn't need to include one in the handcrafting process. So just keep that in mind. Okay, thank you for watching. Good job. You're almost done. You're almost ready to put yours out in the sun. Keep it up.